Hello and welcome to the Daily Space for today, Thursday, January 16th, 2020. I am your host, Dr. Pamela Gay, and I am here to put science in your brain. Now, we have a whole variety of different news stories for you today, and the only thing really tying these together is a reminder that science is incremental and often pretty violent. So I'm going to start by bringing up an image, and I left my screen deck upstairs, so you're going to have to deal with me leaning periodically. This is an artist's illustration of the orbit of a new object found, inside Venus's orbit. This new object orbits entirely between Venus and Mercury and is the first object of its class, a Tara asteroid that's been found. Now, the fact that this is the first one that's been found actually isn't really surprising, because for something to have an orbit that's entirely inside of Venus's orbit means that it's never going to get very far away from the sun on the sky, and most surveys don't get their telescopes anywhere near the sun, and they're not observing at twilight. Well, that was the case up until recently. The Zwicky Transient Factory is, surveying the sky at twilight and turned up on January 4th this brand new object. This object has been named 2020 AV2 and is thought to be between 1 and 3 kilometers in diameter and orbits every 151 days. And what's kind of creepy and awesome about this object is because its orbit takes us out from near Venus to in near Mercury's orbit, it's constantly getting gravitationally tweaked by these two planets. And it's thought that eventually this object is going to smack in to either Mercury or Venus. And in fact, most objects in orbits like this object are probably going to eventually smack in to Mercury or Venus. So this raises the question, how many of these objects are out there? And just how long are we going to have to wait until we get to see a 1 to 3 kilometer object smack in to an uninhabited world? I'm here for that kind of violence. Now, in other news of things smacking into one another in our solar system, we have a story on the journey of phosphorus. We require phosphorus to exist. If any of you ever had to memorize various Krebs cycles of the human body, you may remember the importance of, phosphorus in so many of these different molecules. Now, figuring out exactly where that phosphorus came from when it got to the planet Earth is one of those things that apparently some folks have been thinking hard about. And what they have found is the molecule phosphorus monoxide exists out in star-forming regions, and this particular molecule forms on those inner walls of cavities carved out through the stellar winds of forming massive stars. These molecules are formed through interactions with shocks and radiation, and then go on to fall into collapsing other star systems of smaller stars, where out in the outskirts of these star systems, that phosphorus monoxide is able to get trapped in comets. And then eventually, if a solar system has a history like ours, those comets just might smack into the inner worlds, bringing water, phosphorus, and other ingredients needed to create life and implanting them all in one place. Now, this is a really cool story because it took two radically different kinds of observations. It was with the Atacama Large Millimeter Array that they were able to observe the phosphorus monoxide in distant star-forming regions. At the same time, it was planetary scientists using the Rosetta mission that were able to observe the same molecule in the comet, and here I need to look or I'm going to say it wrong, 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko. Now, this is just one of those things where, while phosphorus probably got to our world through other ways, it's kind of glorious to think that life was created through one comet impact after another, smacking both water and phosphorus and other things, and not just comets, but probably also asteroids, smacking stuff into our planet. Now, looking at the history of our universe, we see over and over that the way that things evolve is through gravitational interactions that often lead to violent mergers and things getting tidally torn apart, and filed into the category of objects that are both getting merged together and tidally torn apart are new, data coming to us from the team at the University of California, Los Angeles, that are observing the inner part of our Milky Way and tracking the motions of stars and giant blobs to see exactly how they're moving. In a new paper out in Nature that I was only able to get my hands on 1 hour before we started this recording, we learned that there are gaseous blobs orbiting in the inner 10th of a parsec of our galaxy. And I didn't have time in that 1 hour to read the entire story and digest it and report on it. So we're actually going to be doing an update on what we know about the inner part of the Milky Way next Tuesday. Now, the TLDR version of this, which means too late, didn't read, the TLDR version of this is these blobs are about the size of a solar system, about 100 astronomical units across. And these blobs kind of look like stars throughout most of their orbit, but as they dive past the supermassive black hole, Sag A star in the center of the Milky Way, they get tidally elongated. The primary explanation they have right now for what exactly is going on is these systems are actually binary stars that got brought extremely close together as they interacted over and over with Sag A star. And as they got closer and closer, they merged to share a single envelope. But as these systems get too close to Sag A star, they get tidally torn back apart somewhat. Gas gets stripped off. And that gas, it eventually is going to go plummeting into that supermassive black hole, creating amazing fireworks of radiation when that happens. Now, like I said, I don't know the full details on this, but I'm really looking forward to reading this paper and bringing you a better explanation, again, next Tuesday. But for now, that's all I've got. So I'm not going to hang around and answer your questions, and I'm going to remind you, please use a purple circle with a purple star in the center to help me find your questions in the chat. While you're typing those in, I'm going to remind you also that we are a production of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. We are produced by Susie Murph, and we are made possible by the generous contributions of people like you. If you'd like to help us, one of the best ways you can do it is over on Patreon, where we will get you transcripts of these episodes and other really cool information. Or, of course, those of you watching here on Twitch, you can sub right here on Twitch, get those emotes, and we won't say no to bits and donations. So help make us possible. And if you can't contribute financially, we totally get that. Can you instead maybe help us get the word out? Share the news that we bring you space news, most Mondays through Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Okay, I hear that bids came in, and in fact, the dogs also heard that. Wow, I have 3 dogs down here. Here's dog 1. Hi, dog 1. Please leave my shirt on. Come here, Stella. Come around to the other side. Whoa, I also have Eddie. I also have Malachi, and I have a little tiny Stella who's kind of sneaking up on me. And now I have dog crumbs all over me. All right. So scrolling up to the top to see what questions we have from the beginning. And I just want to say it's really cold here today. I live in an old rambling farmhouse that to say that it has single pane windows is an understatement of the situation. It has single-paned windows that sometimes let the howling wind in such that the curtains move. We need to work on that, but we're not there yet. So it's really cold, which is why you get me in a hoodie looking slightly cold, because I am. All right, scrolling through the questions. Greetings and salutations, Svartmaya. So Limperimble asks, what's the music? Sounds like what they would play as Frodo is walking through the Shire. It is music by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech. I need to get the exact name of that piece and add it to our credits and add it to the boxes down below this window. Most of the music that we use that is canned music comes from Incomptech, and when we're playing background music, it depends on whether I'm hosting, Susie's hosting, Annie's hosting, or Paranor's hosting. If it's me hosting, it's probably David Joseph Wesley. Hello, Bad Panda. If you say hello, I'm likely to say hello back. And Hexacosa Coron says, now I am over here. Gildastar asks, boom today? No boom today. No boom today. There will be a purposeful boom Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, approximately. There is a 4-hour launch window for SpaceX's abort test of their Crew Dragon capsule. They are going to be launching, and roughly a minute after launch, quite purposefully, causing things to go sideways to make sure that their crew capsule is able to abort the way it's supposed to. I'm going to drag my sorry self out of bed, but I believe that it is Paranor, who is one time zone to the east, he's 2 time zones for me to the east, who is going to be covering that stream. We are grateful for people to the east. Scrolling. Hi, Sir Goosey. I do return. I do. So Hexacosa Coron goes transient factory. So their goal is to use their telescope setup to survey the entire sky pretty much nightly, and thus become a factory for detecting objects that move, flicker, and go boom in the sky. So Hexacosa Coron says, assuming I heard that right, that's an awesome name. It is. It is. Scrolling. So Gildastar asks, could one of the planets gravitationally throw it further out into the solar system? This is referring to asteroid. I'm going to have to look up its name again. Scrolling to 2020 AV2. This is the new asteroid found between the orbits of Venus and Mercury. Gravitational interactions here are likely to cause an impact more likely than they are to hurl it into the sun or out to the outer parts of the solar system, according to the dynamical models that they've run. Now, that doesn't mean that's the 100% necessary outcome. They could still hurl it at the sun or hurl it outwards towards us and the rest of the solar system. But the most likely outcome is crashing into Venus or Mercury. Again, dead worlds. I'm okay with this. Okay, Refs Matt says, hey there. I say, hey there back. Scrolling. Sorry for the Discord noise. I have phone audio turned on. It is now turned off. Hello, Susie. So Gilstar asks, could one of the planets... Oh, I already answered that. Cool. Pardon me while I look. Thank you, Wayne Johnson, for the bits. My dogs now think thank you means I'm going to give them treats. I'm not this time. I'm not. They're sitting and staring. Hello, Marmot SRL. Um, Side Mount asks, is Betelgeuse getting brighter again? I can't see the difference yet. I haven't seen any reports that it's getting brighter. Last I saw it was still getting dimmer or staying the same, depending on whose error bars you believe. So yeah, no boom today. No boom. It's very sad. But yes, I have all the floofs, all of the floofs. There are bits. Okay. I know. You're going to mug me. Hi. Hi. I have to get them to the other two as well. There are two other dogs. I know. It's hard. Stella, you're making this difficult. So poor Stella, who's new down here and is the smallest, basically all the other dogs put their mouth around her treat before I finally got it all the way to her. Yes. I think Marmot gets it right with the 0.75 pain. That might be the best way to look at it. So Paranor asks, and that's the dogs moving the camera, could Parker Solar Probe potentially collide with an asteroid in a tight solar orbit, or does it have collision avoidance? I don't think it has collision avoidance. The statistical likelihood that such a tiny spacecraft could hit one of the rare asteroids. Hi. Stella, you need to come closer, dear. That such a small spacecraft could hit a small rock in the emptiness of space is extremely low. That doesn't mean it's zero, but it means it's probably not going to happen, just like you're probably not going to win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. Now, there's the chance you could find one on the sidewalk, pick it up, and it could be a winning ticket, and you notice. That's still probably more likely. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else is in here. Put cling film over the windows. We did that for a while, and dogs. Yeah, dogs. It turns out we get deer in our yard pretty much nightly, and the dogs take great offense to the deer. And yeah, that's all I can say. Hexacosacoran is like, wouldn't it be ironic if the rocket failed to destroy itself? That would be delightful. I don't think that's going to happen. It would be delightful, though. So Revsmat says, also, there are no secret planets near the sun. There's a lens flare inside the camera. This is generally true. Yes, there are no secret planets. There really aren't. We would have found them by now. So Planetary Pan asks, is it snowing? No, it would be warmer if it was snowing. We have a crystal clear, gorgeous blue sky day, and I should go out tonight and try and observe Betelgeuse. But because there's no cloud layer, which acts as insulation, the temperatures are able to plummet as all the infrared radiation, all the warmth stored up in the soil and the asphalt just radiates away. It's cold. It's really, really cold. So Kerbal's sharing information on the Falcon 9 Crew Dragon at 39A. And one of the things that kind of disturbs me about this is they're doing this test in January. And there's a long history of if a spacecraft is going to have a horrible accident, it's going to be in January. And so I just have really mixed emotions. I wish this abort test had been in December as originally planned. That, and we were there in December. But yeah, thank you for the bits, Planetary Pan. I'm now seeing who gave things. Larry asks, I heard some black hole accretion disks convert 40% of infalling mass to energy. How can this be? So it's through nuclear reactions. That accretion disk that builds up around the supermassive black hole or any other black hole, it can get so dense that just like a star, it undergoes nuclear reactions. This is what a quasar, a quasi-stellar object is. It's that accretion disk around the black hole that is undergoing these amazing reactions and just radiating light. So yeah, the 40% seems a little bit high to me, but if you saw it in a published paper, that's one of those results I don't have a problem with. It's snowing all over Canada today. Hexacosacoron's talking about Ottawa. I saw that Fraser's been getting buried in Vancouver, although apparently Edmonton is just really cold. Planetary Panda's like, they are so fluffy and cute. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Ruffs Matt, for all the emoji bits. Yes, Broken Symmetry. Stella does get pre-moistened treats. You guys are totally quoting Star Wars, and I'm trying to make sense of what Astro B wrote. He said, "Sorry, Pamela, Betelgeuse does not have a J in the name. We give it. Do you want it to be Betelgeuse?" I mean, it has 3 different pronunciations that are legal pronunciations. I actually got into a knockdown drag out about this when I was in middle school. Dictionaries were consulted. And the 3 allowed pronunciations are Beetlejuice. Don't say that 3 times. Betelgeuse, and Betelgeuse. So, yeah, pick. Trucker Kev is like, guys, not juice. They're both allowed, people. They're both allowed. Get a Star says, if a civilization has a stellar engine, would we be able to detect it, or would it be too close to the star? What kind of stellar engine do you mean? If you're talking about like the thing that they had in episode 8 where they're sucking, or I guess that was episode 7 where they're sucking plasma down off of the star to blow up worlds. We would probably detect that as a variable star. I'm not sure what other kind of stellar engine you're talking about. This is one of those things where fiction brings up so many ideas. Most of the time, things end up showing up in the infrared or through variability. Larry asks, is Betelgeuse's name Arabic or Urdu? I know I've been told, I don't remember. Okay, it's pronounced like GIF. Yeah. You're trying to make me fall into that trap, bad panda bear. Okay, so I think I've made it through everything in the chat. I'm now surrounded by 3 sleeping dogs. 3 sleeping dogs. Before I take off, I wanted to let all of you know we have a podcast edition of this show. It actually often comes out a few minutes before we go live with the video, and it is fully edited, easy to share. You can check it out at dailyspace.org or look for The Daily Space anywhere you get podcasts. We're listed down below, The Daily, and Trevor Noah's The Daily Show. Then you get to The Daily Space. So go take a look for it and give it a subscription and pass it out to your podcast-loving friends, podcast-loving enemies, and, well, people who don't love podcasts, teach them about podcasts. Anyways, that's all I've got. We are The Daily Space. My name is Dr. Pamela Gay, and I have been here to put science in your brain. We come to you most Mondays through Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. That is 6 p.m. London time. We are a production of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. I'm going to roll the credits in a minute, but I don't have them queued up and left my Stream Deck upstairs. So you're going to see a blue screen for a moment, then the credits are going to roll, and then I will find someone to raid. We are produced by Susie Murph, and we are made possible through the generous contributions of people like you. Thank you for the bits. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So many Pavlovian reactions. Stella, you get one first this time. Come here. There you go. You get 1 second. And you, who didn't move, get one hurled at you. Thank you, Kerbal. Thank you. Here you go. Ow. Stella was a little bit eager and got some fingers. Okay. So there may be streaming of coding this afternoon. It's really cold. I'm not sure I want to go up to my home office. We will see. I may hook a camera up to my downstairs computer. Well, it's the same computer. I have a monitor downstairs and a monitor upstairs and lug the laptop around. That was too much information. Anyways, I am going to say I will be back tomorrow. There is no astronomy cast tomorrow. We recorded 2 episodes last week in Hawaii, and I'm still catching up on things, and Fraser is still catching up on things. So, Planetary Pan asks, is the basement warmer? Sometimes, sort of. It cools off. Yeah. Okay, so I am going to say I will see you tomorrow. And wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous morning, evening, or afternoon. And I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye. Awkward transitions. Awkwardness. It won't transition. Why won't you transition? Go over there. It hates me. It hates me hard. It won't let me click anything.